was 8 days of getting modern now. Barcelona is quite more modern houses.
Right, Julia?
It's 2 a.m. and I'm here in the bathroom because my sister's asleep and I just can't sleep. The last 2 days I can't sleep at all. I was up until like 4:30 in the morning last night. I haven't had insomnia in a really long time, but I just cannot get my body to relax, and I feel like it's just because I'm just getting something that I asked for, and I'm just feeling my hard work culminate into something that I wanted for a really long time and everything, and it's been kind of I'm so happy, but I'm also kind of like just unsettled and just thinking about all the next things that I need to do and everything. I'm not even consciously thinking about it like that, but I think I'm just subconsciously feeling so unsettled by this place that I'm in that I didn't really expect to get to, and it's like every piece of it now feels so much like a win. I just feel like I shifted into an energy now where it's kind of like getting into this like, oh, this is kind of a win for me right now. Like I'm actually succeeding and I'm actually successful, and it's not in that energy anymore of like, oh, this could not work. It's like, this will work. And sometimes it's really hard. I've been thinking about how sometimes it's really hard to explain to people your path, and it's hard because I think following your own path and following your own intuition can be so isolating sometimes, where sometimes you just gotta go your own way, and it's like it doesn't really make sense to people, or it doesn't seem that normal on the surface, or you know, there's just like weirdness around it, but it's like it just makes sense for you, and it's not the typical route, but you just have to go that way. And that's been this whole thing for me. I just felt it in my body that I had to do this ever since actually I just feel like it kicked in for me at a certain point where I had just finished the entire Petal 9 trial I was in, and I started feeling like I just really want to know. This was soon after I started writing my paper on dissociation in undergrad, and I started reading about all these things, the fantasy model and the trials and dissociation and stuff, and it was like this whole new world of information. And then that trial ended, and I just started feeling that shift that year of like, I really want to know why this is happening to me. And I was like, I can't be at peace without knowing why this is happening to me, because I just don't feel like I'll understand myself. And I feel like I just have felt like I don't know sometimes where to go, that I'm in such a unique position that sometimes I feel like it's like, who maybe people wouldn't understand this, and sometimes you have to really go in an isolated sort of direction, because if you listen to other people, you won't go down this route. And I feel like there's a lot of times that there's a lot of advice that I could have followed along the way that would have stopped me from doing this right now, where it's like, okay, maybe this isn't your path, or you know, oh, you didn't get accepted, or all this stuff, or it's like I just kept being like, no, I really feel it in my body. Like I feel it in my body that I need to go this way, and like I shouldn't let anything like dissuade me. I shouldn't let anything stop me. Like no matter what I hear, I shouldn't really let anything stop me from going down this path. And that was like it was an emotional risk for me. I was like, is this like the right way? But I just had to follow my body, and that's been so pivotal to me and this entire process of healing, of learning to follow my body, learning to trust myself. It's like I have to follow what my heart is saying. I know it sounds corny, like I have to follow what my mind is, like where my heart is taking me. And it was here, like down this path and stuff, and it doesn't really make sense. Like I could be having probably an easier time, or I don't know, a funner time. First of all, this has been like the funnest thing in my life. Like doing my project is like, I love it. And like making these little videos for my project and everything, it's been the most amazing thing I've ever done. I feel so proud of it. I feel like such a sense of accomplishment and all of this stuff, and I love it. Like I'm very happy, but at the same time, like I know that certain things could probably be easier in my life if I wasn't doing this, you know. But I just feel like my body called me here, and now I'm feeling a little bit shook. Like, okay, I'm here, and this kind of went right so far. Obviously not perfect yet, it could fall apart, but I don't think that it will. And that's been a really, really massive shift in my energy, and just like, okay, well, what, I don't know, I've been feeling kind of pressure too, like, okay, now I have to actually write this, you know, because again, the whole idea from the get-go was to publish this as a paper. And I keep getting down on myself, like, you know, maybe this is still just all like kind of dumb, but it's like I did make it this far, and this could have gone so badly for me, and this could have gone wrong in so many ways. It's like I am here though, and this does seem to be the right path because it is working so far. I mean, at least it's been approved for my project essentially, and then I found a supervisor, and I have a literature review, and I have an idea, and I have like a plan and everything. It's like it's here and stuff. And so I've just been feeling kind of weird. And yeah, sometimes I feel like your soul just has a mission. Like I just feel like my soul had a mission on earth. Like I had I had a soul mission, and I feel like I've been really, it seemed so random. Like it seemed random to graduate from comparative literature degree and be frustrated and stuff and be like, I'm gonna find the root cause of this and stuff. Like yeah, sure you are, but it's like I'm doing it though, in theory. And it's kind of just been like strange. Also, this is the thing about it, is that it didn't leave me. Like I thought that was gonna be like an on a whim thing, like okay, you're just pissed and stuff, like it's not gonna happen, like, you know what I mean? It's just like one of those things, like yeah, you're pissed and you're kind of in like this ambitious mood, and like yeah, sure. And the urge hit me again, and then I thought, you know, maybe this is all just for nothing. And then the urge hit me again, and I started to want to read, and I started to want to do this. It's like it just keeps, like the urge never leaves me, and it never left me, and it just feels like this intense like shining light of like, go this way, you know what I mean? Like a flashlight, you know, it's like when you go to the movies and they shine a flashlight on the ground for you to like get to your seat. It feels like that, of like, just go this way, like don't worry about it, just trust, just go, this is the way for you. And it's been really strange how I've just been following it, and it's like it guided me here, and it's really bizarre because how am I here in the first place? And it's just like, I think I just keep getting shook. And even though like, again, it's like I just had a really sweet, like my sister and I had like heart to heart for like a long time, and she was like, you know, you need to stress less and like be kind of less of a work. I was like explaining all my all my reasons why that's why I'm stressed and all this stuff, and she was like, yeah, but you need to like, you know, chill out and all this stuff, like, you know, she was giving me like good advice. And I haven't explained like, obviously, like the world of drama of this project, and the world of like intensity of this for me, and like soul path and everything is beyond what I could explain to people. And like sometimes it's like you can try to explain it to people, but like they wouldn't understand, and it'd just be like, you know, well, that's really ambitious. Like, you know, all along the whole entire path, it's like, before I even started this, like somebody was like, oh, I don't know if like, you know, are you sure you don't want to stick to cultural studies? And I was like, you know what, no, like I feel like I'm a neuroscientist. And I just kept going down the path. I meditated like way back, like before I started any of this, like 2.5 years ago. I just got this random deep soul feeling, like when I was meditating, before I did learn a thing about neuroscience. Like, you're a neuroscientist. And I went down the path, and then I got that comment. I kept going. I was like, I just feel like my soul needs me to do it. And then like I started this whole, like I got rejected from applications. I was like, you know, maybe I suck. And then I was reading about computational modeling, and I was like, go for it, just jump, just do it. You don't understand how to do it, just start. And I started reading and like, okay, you know what I mean? It just keeps not working out. I just keep being like, no, like you gotta just jump, like you gotta just do it. I just feel it in my gut that I need to go down this path and stuff. And it's like, it's hard to, I feel like sometimes when you explain stuff to people, it's like, you know, if I don't, that's why I don't like explain it to people. And I don't explain, like, I don't even think I've fully explained to people that like I'm doing this. Only one person, only my very best friend, I didn't even tell her I was doing this project for a full 8 months. My very best friend in the world, like, I didn't say a word. Only recently when I was actually doing the proposal, I told her. Because I'm like, you know, sometimes it's like I'm like, I know people can't understand that like I have to do this. And it's like, it sucks because it's like this intense sort of emotional and spiritual pressure of like, oh my God, like what are you talking about? But it's like, no, but like I'm here though. And like, I didn't know that I was gonna be here at all. Like, it's insane. And it's like, I can't drop it. You know what I mean? Where it's like, if I were to tell people, it's like, well, just chill out. Like, it's not that big a deal. You're only 24. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, you have your whole life to do that. It's like, I do, but my soul just needs me to do it right now. It's crazy. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like an intense like calling that I felt for before I had a drop of neuroscience knowledge. It was just like, just full speed ahead, like find the root cause of this, just jump. And I just, it never left me. The urge never left me, and I just kept following it. And it's like, oh, now it's actually lifting into something. So that's what's really been kind of like, I think it's been kind of nerve-wracking of like, oh, so I'm actually gonna do this. So I'm actually gonna publish this. Like, I don't know the full details, but I haven't known the full details the whole way through. It's like, so you are going to. So you are gonna find the root cause of this issue. And like, you are gonna be a neuroscientist, like you are. But it's just like, it's so much pressure because I'm like, I still have to write this. I still have to find like another supervisor. And I still need to actually build the thing and like all this stuff. But it's like, I don't know how, but I'm gonna do it because like I got here in the first place. So yeah, it's just been very isolating because it's like, no guys, you don't understand. I have a sole mission to do this insane thing that like nobody should be doing at my age when they don't have a freaking neuroscience degree. It's like, but here I am, like, why am I doing this? You know, and it's like, you know, you can't, sometimes you just can't tell people, like you can't explain it to people because like you need to follow your gut and like you need to follow your instinct, you know, and like sometimes your instinct leads you places that really don't make sense to other people. And I feel like that's been my life recently, and it's just been like, what kind of intense pressure mode is this? It's like, now you have to freaking publish a paper showing the root cause of like, I don't know, dissociative amnesia. What? Why? Like, I just, like I said, I got the urge to do, like, literally after that trial, I was like, I'm going to find the root. I was like, I will not stop until I find the root cause of dissociative amnesia. And I was like, girl, you're crazy. Like, okay, moved on with my life. And it just kept, it's like it's following me. You know what I mean? It's like, it wants me. I didn't even ask for this. It wants me. And it's been kind of like forcing itself on me. Like, you will find this and you will do this. And it's like, I don't know what's happening, but it's like, it's working. I don't know. It's been, yeah, that's what's been really intense recently. It's like, I can't explain to people. It's like, my entire life is changing right now in the deepest of ways. And it's insane. And like, I've kind of been forgetting about it, but at the same time, I feel like I'm low-key stressed. Like, okay, this is a massive task. I know, like, when you say it, it sounds like you sound like a little bit like, oh, like whimsical or like, oh, like magical thinking kind of energy. But it's like, I can't explain it, but it's just happening. I've had such bad insomnia. I don't know. I need to wake up at 9:30 in the morning and it's like 2 in the morning. And I'm like, I can't sleep. I can't. It's like, I'm in, I don't know. Let's see. I don't know what to do with myself, TBH. The affirmation that I needed today.
Sabes, mi amor, pórtate bien, no debes llorar, ya sabes por qué. Santa Claus llegó a la ciudad. Todo lo apunta ciudad. Te observa cuando duermes, te mira al despertar. No intentes ocultarte de él, pues siempre te verá. Él sabe de ti, él sabe de mí, lo sabe todo, no intentes huir. Santa Claus llegó a la ciudad. Santa Claus llegó a la ciudad. Santa Claus llegó a la ciudad. Te observa cuando duermes, te mira al despertar. No intentes ocultarte de él, pues siempre te verá. Sabe de ti, sabe de mí, lo sabe todo, no intentes huir. Santa Claus llegó, Santa Claus llegó, Santa Claus llegó a la ciudad.
It was Christmas Eve, babe, in the drunk tank. An old man said to me, won't see another one. And then he sang a song, the rare old mountain tune. I turned my face away and dreamed about you. Got on a lucky one, came in 18 to 1. I've got a feeling this year's for me and you. So happy Christmas, I love you, baby. I can see a better time when all our dreams come true.
And what?
Okay, hello, it's Christmas Day. Merry Christmas. My family just left. It was so nice to see them, and it was so homey and everything, and I feel like it was the first time in like quite a while that I actually let myself breathe and just process and not really work as hard as usual, because I've been going and going and going all semester, and it was a nice time to reflect and everything. And we were actually doing some Christmas reflections right before they left that we didn't get to finish, so I wanted to sort of just brain dump. So I reflected so much over this trip and just came back feeling like really shifted and in a new mentality and everything that I just wanted to like implement and all this stuff. Drinking my tea. I came back also and I was like, this is actually my home that I got actually in Brazil when I went to visit my family in Paraná. And what is he? He's like my great uncle or something. Yeah, my great uncle, I think. He drinks mate like religiously, and he had like a whole setup and stuff. And I was just watching him drink it, and I was like, I want some. And so I ended up, he taught me like how to fill it and how to do it and everything, but it kind of takes practice. So I don't even drink it as often as I want to, because I like needed to get the technique down. Then it's like this whole thing, and I'm like kind of lazy. Also, because I have the lowest caffeine tolerance that I'm trying to build up again. But if I drink too much, it makes me anxious because it's so strong. But I came back, and I don't know, like I just feel like my mind shifted so much over the last few days. I saw somebody drinking, like probably an Argentinian, drinking their mate on the street when I was in Spain, and I was like, I want it again. And I came back, and it just like my head just shifted. I was like, this is really not hard, and this really doesn't take that long, and it's not that deep. And I've been drinking my little mate. The house feels so empty now. I just looked around and it's like, oh, only my shoes are here. Nobody's here, just me and my cat. It's so quiet. Like I feel like really self-conscious that I'm just speaking to myself on a computer now. Why? Okay, anyways, I guess I'll say my reflections of the year now that it's just me talking to myself again. Basically, I feel like this has been the cycle of like my early to mid 20s. So the last few years since I've gone off on my own and started to sort of develop my life where I learned so much. I feel like this is a period of your time where you're just learning all the time. And because I just was kind of thrown off the deep end into a new country, into the world, I feel like I've just been nonstop learning the last few years and it's been so exhausting. And it's been kind of, I get in this cycle where I'm just accumulating and accumulating, and I'm really busy. Like, I'm really focused on accumulating, like, get more money, get more experience, get more this. And I feel like your early 20s, you don't really have much. So you're just accumulating and learning all the time. You have to learn everything. So I go through these cycles where I've just been accumulating for a while and I haven't actually, I'm like, oh, I have so much here that I need to just like sit with and like diminish, like minimize it. And it's not even items per se, even though I am taking like, I don't not like, I'm not a hoarder or anything. I don't really have that much stuff, but I just came home. I wanted to, when I was in Spain, I was like, I want to go home and take a critical look at my house and just kind of diminish again because I just feel like because I had time to sit with myself, I started getting more cohesive sense of who I am. And just this year, like I said in the last video, it's been like the biggest year of my life. Like I accumulated so much, like corporate job, master's degree started, project started. I was just also, I think it's been such a massive checkpoint in my projects. Also, like this whole trip has been like a checkpoint. Like I feel like sometimes in life there are like just checkpoint moments where it's like, okay, completely new chapter. Where I was feeling that when my family left, I was like, this is like a whole new chapter of my life that I'm entering right now in this year because now I have a supervisor for my project. And that means that I basically, as long as I can continue on productively, I basically have pivoted my career massively in theory because I pivoted from my old job, my old path, which is comparative literature, into computational neuroscience question mark, as in like, okay, now it's like a marker that like I'm not sucky at this too bad. And like as long as I do this well, like I'll have something in it. So it's been kind of like I feel like now that I'm actually productively working on a project in a framework that's not my own home, it's like that's a really, really massive shift in my future. So that's been like kind of like a big thing that I've been just trying to wrap my head around and just being like, okay, once everybody leaves, like I'm really in a new chapter of like my work life and like my career and everything. So yeah. I'm currently, so just to update, the last week I've been trying to find a second person who's in my department to be a second supervisor that's maybe more a bit psychology minded or something. And I had one person say just no, they were too busy. Second person say that was almost within their realm but not quite, just like the first time around, and gave me a name of somebody. And now I'm just waiting. It's the same thing as last time where I'm just waiting on somebody to sort of say yes as I go down the line. And then after that I can actually submit my supervisor like form, and then it's like, okay, it's official, this is your project. So that's the only update. I haven't been working on it. I've just been kind of drifting back and forth. Do I work on the paper? Do I work on I'm a bit intimidated now because it's like a real thing. But anyway, so I just feel like I have been kind of accumulating, and now I need to actually sit and just like I had more of a sense of like who am I, and like I need to diminish now and sit with everything that I have and everything that I've learned and just make it more cohesive for my life now, where sometimes I feel like I get overwhelmed because I'm like there's like a lot to sit with, like there's a lot going on where I'm just working, working, working. And even over the break I was finding myself looking at how I was operating in my job and being like, oh, I think I'm shifting in the sense that like I'm actually learning, like I'm actually improving at my corporate job, and I actually am getting better at thinking about how to manage it and thinking in like a corporate job way, which is cool. And I feel like I just wanted to sort of update that and all these different things where I'm like, oh, I'm actually finding myself improving at the things that I'm doing, but I just want to rework because I just, even over the break, like I went shopping and stuff and I started to be like, okay, I think I kind of get a sense of like who I am and like what I want to look like. And it's been like a big identity shift like moment right now for me. One of my big goals this year is to slow down like significantly. I think I was speeding up a lot, or like I was like just go fast, just do in like panic mode for the last few months, because particularly this project, I was like I need to squish it into my school life, because if not I'm really getting behind, and I'm feeling like, is this worth the time and everything? And I feel like I was just constantly kind of having to speed up my existence this year. And then this year I was like, I want to spend the next week minimizing and getting things together so that I'm have space to slow down and that I know what I'm doing and et cetera, et cetera. My project has been kind of like this awkward thing on the side because it was really hard to time manage for the last semester because I had no idea how to really integrate my project into like my routine and like how do I prioritize this? Should I prioritize this? Should I actually be spending time on this? And also I was like, I don't like I need to speed up so that I can put this in my empirical project. And it just made it really kind of hard to time manage because there's not like it wasn't something that it was kind of out of the ordinary. So I was like, I don't know how to time manage with this. Like I don't know how to orient my time around this project. And that made it awkward because I was like kind of prioritizing it, but then it also made it difficult with like my school life. I don't know, like it was like a really, really awkward kind of thing on the side, just an awkward semester. And yeah, I don't know. I just think it's gonna be a lot easier now that, you know, because there was no like I didn't have a supervisor yet. I've never done computational modeling before. I'd never written anything like this. So it was really hard to be like, I have zero sense of like how this goes. So I was just like, I don't know how to squeeze this in right. And that made it really hard because I was like, you know, sometimes I'd like set out my day or plan out my day and it's like, no, you need to like go spend time on this for like a while. And I feel like my schedule would get kind of thrown out the window sometimes. Because I was like, I just feel like, no, you need to go work on this sometimes. And that made it really like it was again, it felt really illegitimate up until this point. And now it's a legitimate thing that I'm doing. So I think that made me feel internally more organized. Like, okay, I'm not yeah, I was just like a lot of sort of tension around this activity and like I don't know what place it really fits in my life, if it's worth going after and stuff. So it just made it really, I was like, if I go after it, it'll be worth my time. If I don't go after it, it'll have been a waste of my time. And I wanted to make sure that it wasn't a waste of my time. So I feel like I poured a lot of energy into it to make sure it wouldn't be a waste of my time. If not, it would have been annoying to have wasted months of my life on nothing essentially and stuff. So yeah. And then again, it was like all these different things. I was like, if I don't pour time into it and really make use of it, then I have to go find another empirical project to do, like another person's project. And then that's like another, you know, it's like accumulating priorities where I was like, if I prioritize this, then I don't have to feel like, then it's like, I didn't waste the last 8 months. I'm actually ahead now because I actually have like a literature review already. I have text already. I have like, I'm into the project already. So again, it was just like an awkward, I think it was just an awkward time to time manage essentially. And I really, really want to manage my time better this semester because I had zero idea how to manage my time with this in mind. And even before that, like I had other things that would have been good opportunities for me. Like somebody in my life like gave me like a opportunity to do like an internship with them and stuff. It was like it wasn't ever like a fully fleshed out thing, but I was like, I really wanted to spend more time on that. But then I ended up being like, okay, but I think I should prioritize it. I don't know. It was just like it's just been like it's like it's been this constant battle of is this worth prioritizing or not? And I do feel like it was because it bridged a gap for me and made me feel like I understand myself better. I feel more integrated. I feel more cohesive because this was also an emotional task for me of like integrating my experience and all these different things that was like it was really good for me, but I just need to sit and like process that this is happening and that I'm changing and like all these different things that I'm just like it's been kind of like a big thing for me this year and it's been a lot on my mind too. I feel like sometimes I would be distracted around people because this felt so intense and there was like a lot of emotion behind it as well, like a lot of emotion about like my internal world, like a lot of my internal world was sort of thrown into this, like, you know, this is so much of like a healing process for me too that was really important to me that it worked out and like now it kind of is. So yeah, I haven't really felt called yet to really rush into anything, like rush into fixing my project. I mean, it's Christmas, but I just think it's like I want to spend from now until the end of the year just kind of consolidating my lessons essentially and just feeling a bit more cohesive going into the year and going into the next part of my project, because it is a massive checkpoint in my project, and just like, okay, now this is like a legitimate thing that I'm doing and not just like a silly hobby, which is amazing. I feel really good about that. That makes me feel really good about myself, and I feel really accomplished. And like I really used my time wisely this year, even though it's like other things got, sometimes I wasn't as like great as I wanted to be at other things, but it was always, that's why I kept prioritizing it, because I was like, the outcome, or like the what I would get back from this going well for me is so much more in every possible sense internally than some of the other things going well. And yeah, that's why I really went after it, and I feel great about how I used my time this year. This was for me internally my most successful year. This is the year of my life that I feel proudest of myself. I feel like I did so much this year and I grew so much this year, and I learned. I learned literally, this project started like the beginning of this year. I learned an entirely new subject this year. Like I learned about computational modeling this year. I learned, this has been such a learning heavy year for me, and just learning myself, learning what I'm capable of and stuff. And I've been really reflecting this year on how sometimes I think we feel like we shouldn't go after ambitious things, I think that it took like a build up last year. This has been such a work in progress for years of like myself, my personality, of like, I think I spent so much time last year building up that mentality of like, you can do it, you've got this, you can do hard things, you can complete things, you can finish things. I finished my old thesis last year, and I developed this attitude of being a finisher, which I really want to make a video about that, and how important that identity was for me, of like, I finish things is like a new personality of mine, I guess. And I was developing that all last year, and then I went into the new year with that energy and started this project. And I was really reflecting on how sometimes I feel like we discourage people from jumping into things that seem a little bit more ambitious on the surface. And it's good, because you should have a good sense of like your limitations, and like, do things that are reasonable so that you can finish them, and you can feel that sense of accomplishment. And you can do things more at your pace instead of getting overwhelmed by something massive, and you know what I mean? But I think that sometimes it's like, every once in a while you should let yourself go after something big and ambitious and everything, and go in with the mentality of like, I will finish this, and that's the sort of central facet, because I was like, sometimes we stop people from actually seeing what they're capable of by discouraging them from going after things that seem ambitious on the surface. And I feel like I did that with myself a lot. But instead of being like, oh no, I shouldn't do ambitious things, it's about giving yourself time to prepare that mentality. I think even though I didn't know I was going to do this project like this, I knew I wanted to do something like this. And I think that in the 2 years out of school, I spent a lot of time developing the mentality of somebody who would finish this. And that was really the key thing. And I think it's less about don't do ambitious things, but it's more about take time to prepare before jumping into an ambitious thing, and think about what that's going to require of you, and the kind of sacrifices you might have to make from yourself, and know that it's going to be hard, and know that you're going to doubt yourself and everything. And I think if you develop that mentality, you can go into something ambitious and really commit, where we get nowhere if people never went after an ambitious idea or an ambitious project. Like, some of the big things that we have in the world, like, we've gotten because people were ambitious, and not because they were ambitious at like 60. A lot of big important companies and things were founded by young people who were just really ambitious. It's not a bad thing to be ambitious, but it's about being realistic with what that's going to require of you. And I think I knew why I wanted to go into this, and why it was important to me, and what kind of outcome I wanted to get out of it. And like, because of that, I just didn't really give up, and I kept going after it over and over again, where I was like, I will learn what I need to learn. And like, I know that this is ambitious, but I'll just keep going after whatever it takes for me to make sure that that's going to be completed. Like, I'll do it. And even if that takes a really long time, like, I'll develop that. And I think that's what made this project actually successful for me, rather than being something that really blew up in my face or it was a waste of time, was that I kept developing the mentality, and like, my mentality was the most important part of this. Because people should do ambitious things. It's good for you to try something bigger than you think you're capable of, because a lot of the times, like, you will be able to do that if you know what you're getting yourself into, you know? Just trying to consolidate all my lessons. Let me see. What else did I learn from this project? The other thing, and I think that I'm taking this into my new year of like, what do I actually want to develop is I talked about this in the last video, but I really learned to I've been re-listening to the book that I was talking about, and it's really great. Again, highly recommend it for anybody. But I think that I really learned the skill of being able to sacrifice and to let some things go for my bigger goal. You know, that's been a really big thing for me. And I've stopped being one of those people that just keeps running into like, you know, okay, the I have to consciously do it. Like the tendency at the end of the year and into the new year is to sort of start thinking about what 7,000 more things can I do. I want to be healthier this year. I want to do this. Where I was actually reflecting on I was looking at my vision board from 2025 for 2025, like all the things I wanted to do in 2025 before I started this project, before it was even on my mind. And it was like, you know, super like everything. You're going to do everything this year. I'm going to save a bunch. I'm going to get super fit. I'm going to eat super healthy. And actually, my year, I grew it a lot more by being significantly like more focused and less sort of less balanced, you know, for better for worse. I'm gonna post I made like a little post that had some little pictures from my Pinterest boards and stuff, and then like a comparison of what my year actually looked like below if you want to see like it visually. But it really, I think that's another big lesson that I've learned going into this project and into like what does it actually take to be focused and successful, that I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna go into the year thinking that I'm reasonably gonna accomplish the most perfect and balanced life where everything is amazing. And because of that, I'm not going to sit here and try to include 7,000 goals into my life. And I think that that's like I'm more into finding things that make sense for me in the moment, are aligned with my moment that I'm having, and what can I just reasonably sort of integrate in ways that I'm already sort of there. And that's like a nice little next step up, rather than like, you know, I think if you have nothing going on and you have one big goal, like that's great. But I think people add in like a lot of goals where it's like, what can you reasonably accomplish within the year? And I've learned to prioritize my feeling of accomplishment rather than setting myself up for disappointment and failure and feeling like I can't do things. Because I think it's better for me to have good self-esteem about my goals and like, okay, I feel really good about the fact that I can accomplish this and I can do this within the year. I can do this here. Whereas, like, it's not a bad thing to know that you might disappoint yourself, and like you have a high likelihood of disappointing yourself if you think you're gonna do like 1,000 things, like you can't. And so I'd rather focus on things that will give me that sense of self-worth and accomplishment. Where like this year I dropped everything, but I really focus on this project, and I'm leaving the year feeling like, wow, I'm so capable and I can really do so much. And it wasn't that I don't have like my dream gym body right now. I've been eating not that healthy and stuff, but I do feel capable, and because of that I feel like I'm in a better place overall over time to like add more things to my sort of routine. I think it's a really big, it's like a life lesson to learn what that balance is for you, and how do you encompass like how do you set yourself up to do a big and special thing and to really meet your goals, versus, you know, because you do want to take on ambitious things and you do want to take on goals, but you also don't want to be overdoing it in what you think you can do. You know what I mean? It's a balance. I feel like it really takes a lot of learning yourself and learning like what your priorities are and stuff. It's a super self-reflective process, I think, that you develop over time. That took me a while. And that's the last thing I wanted to talk about, is that I stopped prioritizing my short-term goals by a lot. Or it's not even about short-term goals versus long-term goals, but I don't expect myself to do a lot in a short period of time, where I'm more focused on like how well can this pan out for me in like 5 years, 10 years, where I think that a lot of internet content about self-help and like changing your life and stuff is about change your life in 30 days. How do you can get a complete glow up in 60 days? Like all this stuff. And I feel like a lot of times people getting really intense for 60 days isn't really going to make the lasting change that you often think that it will. And it's not often very sustainable, and it can be like a fun thing, but it's not really that. I would say that again, it's one of those things that, particularly for me having ADHD, like you often set yourself up for disappointment thinking that you can change your whole life in 30 days, where I'm like, Also, I think that when you naturally give yourself space to evolve for like 5 years, you end up growing more and getting bigger more over time because you start to develop natural attitudes through patience, through everything, where you naturally start to embody other qualities. Like now I naturally feel more inclined to be more organized and all these things versus like I'm forcing myself to do all these different habits in like a certain period of time. It's like, okay, now that I didn't focus on being like a good planner, doing like any of that. I'm like, let me just focus on finishing this project and doing what it takes to finish this project, where I'm like naturally now I'm starting to feel more like my more power in my voice. I'm starting to feel more capable. I'm starting to feel smarter. I'm starting to feel like that's like my identity is someone who accomplishes things, and naturally I want to start to reflect those things into my life more. And I think that over time you start like when you let yourself develop over time, you naturally get to a point where those things feel easier. I always think of the gym like progressive overload, where you if you try to lift like 100 pounds immediately, like you're gonna be like, oh, I'm so weak and I can't take it, where it's like nobody can. Like you have to lift a little bit, then you lift a little bit more, then you lift a little bit more. And I think a lot of times people want their life to look like their ideal life like immediately. And really if it's better to just let yourself fully evolve, where like, okay, things don't look perfect on the surface now. Like I obviously like I want to do more trips, I want to be more social, I want to do all these things, where it's like sometimes you have to have the trust that you'll get there over time and you'll feel better letting things play out naturally versus like I'm going to do everything right now and I need to immediately get the goal. I need to immediately have everything look how I want it to. It's like it doesn't always work like that. And I think, for example, right now I've been thinking about my health habits and like let me start doing some things that will make me feel like I look great in 5 years. Okay, obviously that will start paying off sooner than you think a lot of the time, but like if I can feel really really healthy and really good about myself in 5 years through the things I'm doing now, like you hit the jackpot. Like you're naturally getting there. Versus like, okay, I need to get like a 30-day glow up. I'm gonna go run a bunch and I'm gonna go like change my whole skincare routine. It's like, okay, but I'm gonna burn myself out. I'm gonna get disappointed. Things aren't gonna stick. Where it's like, let me look good. Let me look amazing in 5 years. Catch me in 5 years. I'll be looking amazing. But it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, I think that's how I've started developing over time, changing my mentality versus being like, I'm gonna do everything today and you're gonna see me in a month looking like a supermodel with like, $1 million and like all this stuff. Is like it just doesn't go like that all the time. And I've really learned to value that and have more patience in the bigger picture versus like, is it amazing immediately? Like a lot of times it's not, but I'll feel happier being more patient. And I think that's been a really good lesson to learn in my 20s, because I want to be happy in my 30s. I want to be happy in my 40s. I want to feel good when I'm 60, 70, 80. And it's like, yeah, I think I've just been placing more value on like my whole life versus like, I need to do everything right now. It's like, it's been a good thing for me, even if sometimes I feel like it doesn't pop up with things looking like super shiny and perfect on the surface. So yeah, those have kind of been my biggest lessons from this year, that my mentality shifted like a lot in the last 2 years. I think just being out in the world, like this was not my mentality at all. Like, I mean, also I'm just getting older and I'm becoming more of an adult. And I think you just learn those lessons as you get older. But that definitely wasn't how I operated like in college or anything. But I think it's really, this project was something I wanted to do so much. I was like, any mentality that I need to learn to make sure that it gets done, like I will learn it. And I think the mentality will get you to the end. Like it's more about mentality and less like, am I actually capable? Am I smart enough? It's like, if you have the right mentality, trust you can do anything on earth. Like if you can develop the mentality, like you will make it. And sometimes it's okay for things to be sort of messy in a moment. It doesn't mean that you're failing. It's more about, how is this going to work out for me in like 5 years? And sometimes that means prioritizing one thing and letting other things look messy or whatever, and just letting things slowly develop, where I'm less interested in like, is it going to look good now versus is it going to look amazing in 5 years? I'm going to be living my best life in 5 years. I believe it, because in 2 years moving here, my life has changed so much and I just feel so much better. And it happened slower than it feels like it's happening slower than you think. Cause I'm like, I thought I was going to do all this in like 2 months or something. And it's like, obviously it took me like 2 years to get here. But now that I'm here 2 years later, I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I feel like I grew so much in 2 years versus I think if I was so obsessed with the short term, I don't think my life would have actually changed. Like, it's changing more like structurally and like on a deeper level in 2 years than changing surface level in 2 years. Like I look back and I'm like, wow, I changed a lot in 2 years, and my life grew so much in 2 years, where I thought this was going to happen like 2 months, and it took longer than I thought. Now that I'm here, it feels like it happened so fast. So yeah, anyways, okay, that's like kind of all my little Christmas reflections, and I'm just gonna probably spend the next, like, probably spend today, and like I'm not gonna work on my project. I'm just gonna get myself, like, work on those deeper things, work on my mentality, work on getting my house looking comfortable, and like reflecting and just letting everything sit. I'm gonna watch Fantastic Mr. Fox, and I'm gonna watch Princess and the Frog again, and those will be my movies for Christmas. But I want to give one more lesson that I learned like the last 2 years, just as I watched Princess and the Frog. But basically, I think actually one of the hardest parts of getting successful and developing a successful attitude, particularly as someone in your early 20s or like mid, just 20s in general, is that people, like, obviously everyone wants to be successful. People admire successful people, but success does not, I feel like you look very unsuccessful for a while, or I feel like there's a strong pressure to not have that mentality, or when other people see that mentality, like, it doesn't, success takes a long time to actually grow or for you to actually see the results. So I feel like there's a period of time where you feel you get a lot of doubt thrown your way. You start to seem like kind of boring, like, oh, I'm not doing anything else. I'm prioritizing my long-term growth or this or that. And obviously, after a while, that pays off. And then people are like, whoa, amazing. I've said this in multiple videos. I feel like one of the big things is that you have to put up with the fact that there's going to be a period of time where people question you a lot. You sure you want to do this? Don't you want to do something more fun? Wouldn't it be easier to be this way? All this stuff where, like, also if you're just living a more moderate lifestyle, I think particularly, I think it can be kind of hard to be successful depending on what sort of area you want to be successful in your early 20s. Like, it's hard to be successful and have a super active social life and be having like a lot of like doing a lot of fun things 24/7 and all this stuff. Like, it requires a lot of sacrifice in terms of, no, I'm gonna give this up, I'm gonna stay in, I'm gonna work hard, I'm gonna get more sleep. And I feel like my biggest challenge being in my 20s and starting to develop that mentality for myself is that people encourage you to be more focused on like your short term sort of situation. And even though that's important, like, I'm like, that's a great mentality if you want to be really successful in like your maybe like your 40s. But like, if you want to get something a bit more like sooner, like, it seems counterintuitive, but I feel like you end up having to look a little bit like an unsuccessful 20-year-old, where I'm like, oh, I seem so lame. People are encouraging me to do this more or that more, but it's like you are going to get different results than other people. And I feel like a lot of the lesson that I learned was how to tolerate the pressure to like drop what I'm doing, drop my habits, drop this, drop my my vision, drop whatever, because I don't feel like we're really expected to do that kind of stuff in our early 20s and to have like a vision and stuff. And sometimes I feel like even just out of love, I think people like will question you a lot, and you have to continue to be really like locked in on what you want and locked in on the mentality that you need to have, because there will be immense pressure. I'm sure even when you're older, like, why are you doing that? Go out. Why are you doing that? Like, stuff like that, where it's like you need to get used to the fact that like it's not going to look that pretty, and you're going to commit to that until it looks great. And then all of a sudden, of course, it looks amazing and everyone's like, yay, oh good, that's great. But like, you go through a period of time where it's like it doesn't look great at all, and you just look really boring and really like all this, and it's like it's not going to look amazing right away. And that's when people really start pressuring you, like, maybe that's not the path for you, maybe maybe it was a bit too ambitious, maybe this, maybe that. And it's about you deciding to commit. And that's the difference between people who are going to make it in the long run and people who don't, is that the people who don't have very strong sort of sense of like, I am gonna, like, I will do this no matter what. And you give into pressure, you feel like, well, maybe it wasn't going to work out for me anyways. You have to have super duper strong, like, intense like determination and like attachment to it working out and to what it takes to work out for you to get to the end of something ambitious, I think. And that's been my big lesson this year. It has not been like, it has really not been that like cute. It's been kind of a lot of people telling me, like, questioning me a lot, or me feeling like I'm failing at other things a lot, but I kept going until I started to see results, which I'm starting to see them now. And hopefully we'll start to see them into 2026. And that was like a period of like 2 years of like, no, I'm not going on trip. No, I'm not going out. Yes, I'm saving my money. Yes, I'm staying in. It's like, okay, great. Because of that, I'm here, and like I'm this is working out for me. Whereas if I hadn't done that, like I I would still be kind of flailing around and I wouldn't have like the thing that I really, really wanted, you know. So it's really a trade-off. It's about what experience you want to have. And I think it's okay for people to wait for that into their 30s, 40s. A lot of times you're more developed, you know what you want, that's fine. But if you do have a vision and you're like younger, like that is what it's going to take. And people are going to question you a lot. And you're going to have to deal with a lot of those types of questions when you do something a little bit out of the ordinary. But nobody gets an out of the ordinary result without seeming out of the ordinary, acting out of the ordinary, and doing unexpected things. I guess I'll make this sort of a shorter, hopefully shorter video, and this will be the end of it. But I think the last thing I'm going to talk about in this video is just what's going to come next, what's happening next, just to orient myself and like wrap my head around this, because I've just been genuinely like, I've just been sitting here like, it's just really hard to wrap my head around the fact that this is actually occurring in life, because this is the first thing I've consciously made a decision to do and went after it with like my everything. This was my first plan that I actually followed and it came to fruition. And it's just like, this didn't have to happen. I consciously created it. Do you get me? Like, I'm not following anybody else's plan. It's not like a set in stone thing that anybody else, like, you know, it's not a story that I've seen before. It's my story. And I visualized it and I followed the line down. And it's been really weird to see that pay off. And I just want to like orient myself around what's gonna come next in the next few videos. Okay, first I'm gonna find a supervisor, a second supervisor, and I'll submit that form. I already have quite a bit of introduction drafted, and I'll just keep working on that because that's part of my empirical project paper anyway. So whether I actually publish it or I wait to do that after my empirical project, it's still worth my time to finish that introduction. Now I'll have a future meeting with my supervisor who's doing computational modeling. Who knows what this second person will bring? It seems like people keep wanting to lead me towards somebody really like specializing in this idea, in this realm, because I was trying to reach out to more psychology related people to have that second sort of voice. But then those people kept redirecting me back towards more systems neuroscience people. So I got led back. Right now I'm asking somebody from, I just emailed somebody from like the Department of Psychiatry. So I went from psychology to psychiatry again. So I think that's what's going to end up being the case, is that I'll get a second person like that, which makes sense. And then they just have to be within the department that I need. So we'll see if that works out. I need to check if they're still within my department even. So I'll submit that form. I'll have a meeting with whoever these supervisors are, probably just the computational modeling one. I don't know who's going to end up being in this scenario. And I need to basically figure some stuff out with my actual computational model. I'll hear their advice and I'll hear what can I do in terms of building it. I need to do some hard work on my end to make sure that everything is very concise in terms of like the different parts. It's actually making me a bit sick to my stomach because I feel like sometimes when things work out, it's kind of scary and like, whoa, I didn't think that it's just what outside of the realm of the status quo for me, because I feel like I'm used to seeing myself as someone who can't do it. It's like now I am doing it, which is pretty insane. And so it's a little bit like outside of my comfort zone to actually be like, okay, this is working and happening and etc. But that's good. And then I'll eventually, through conversation and through research and hard work, it'll get built and it'll run and hopefully it'll show what I'm trying to show. And then what do? I write a results section that's going to just include this hard facts. And I'm already kind of drafting the discussion section because obviously I can't draft it entirely because I don't know what the results will say. But I have certain things that I want to discuss that I'm just going to make sure that the texts are already cited in there. And if it doesn't end up relevant, I'll just cut it out. And then it'll be done. Hopefully I'll get, and then I guess after that, we'll see, I guess, if I really have it really solid, maybe I'll ask permission from my supervisors or something. I mean, I don't know how this works. Do I ask if I can publish it before I submit my empirical project? Because the empirical project is kind of secondary. Obviously, my main goal was to get this published one day. Like, that was like my personal goal, publish this exact thing. So we'll see. And then, yeah, I guess it goes into like a preprint first. and then into like a peer-reviewed article. We'll see. This task is very daunting for me right now, but I made it this far, so I have to get the end of the way. But I'm just like kind of shocked by my own success right now, and like, what the heck? And like now I kind of just have to keep following down the line, but I've been internally a little bit stressed out, like imposter syndrome, like, oh my God, I made it this far, but like, can I do it? Can I get the rest of the way? That'll be for other videos, but I hope you enjoyed this video and it gave you some insights into something, or maybe it made you want to go visit Barcelona. But nervous, oh my gosh, this is my first big adult thing that I did, like, I don't know, this is like my first conscious thing that I did, and I'm really like shook and like, oh, this is scary. So yep, let's see how it goes in the next few videos.